Welcome everybody to another epic sketch time. My name is Mark Monlux. I'll be your host today. Epic sketch time started about 7 years ago, and we've been going strong ever since. Back before the pandemic, we were doing this whole thing. So after I'm done introducing myself, I'm going to ask each person to introduce themselves by order of appearance. Again, my name is Mark Monlux. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and today I'm going to be drawing some obscure movie monsters or coloring some of them. I have just moved the artwork over onto my iPad, so at some points I'll be putting it up on the screen and sharing that with you. First up is Katie C.
Hi, my name is Katie. I live in Bonnie Lake, Washington. I am a writer and an artist. You can find me on Instagram at Evil Girlfriend Media. And today, for once, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think I'm gonna do it. I might do a tarot card, a 4x6 tarot card. Let's see what happens.
Bill, it's your turn.
I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator living in Seattle, Washington, and I do a webcomic called Rhapsodies on the side, and today I will be brainstorming for both that and whatever comes to mind.
And a first-time appearance by Thomas. Hello, Tom.
Hello. What I'm working on is translating old Flash animation into something that people can look at on their computers today.
Oh, nice. Well, that looked like a great illustration.
Yeah.
Was that the illustration done as a vector inside Illustrator, or was it also created inside Flash?
It was a vector inside. Corel Draw had a Flash emulator for a while. But all the Flash files I've had to take apart frame by frame.
Oh.
And then recoalesce into HD, and then put it into a third program, and then finally get it up on YouTube. So it's taking a while, but I don't want to lose all that work I had done before. So, and some of these files are about 23 years old. So
I was about to ask Corel Draw files. Oof. The last time I used Corel Draw was in 1997. I was doing, this is back when Microsoft Press was still in existence, back when Microsoft was still publishing manuals and instruction books.
Yeah.
And I was doing a series for the, what were they called? It was called the running series, like running Excel, running Word, running whatever other programs. I think I did like a series of chapter illustrations for 8, but at the time they were using Corel Draw. And so I was doing most of the illustration work inside Illustrator, then converting them into Corel Draw documents, and then doing the final blends and colors in Corel Draw, and then delivering the files. And it was just annoying. But I shouldn't have grumbled so much, because the next thing you know, somebody invents PDFs and Microsoft Press pretty much just closed down overnight. And one of the last books I did for them was the Microsoft Internet Directory Guide, because Bing and Google, the only search engine out there was a thing called Spider, if you guys remember that.
No.
And so this book has all these long URLs that people were using, those nonsense URLs that didn't make any sense, because there wasn't any type of .com system installed, or .org. And so I did a series of first it was 100 icons, and then it went up to 120, and then it came down to about 80 icons. And I had to do them all within about 10 work days. It was just mad work. But They paid buco bucks because it was a full rights buyout. So I made that was a great year for me. and I won an award for it, so that was great. So, all these little tiny 1-inch black and white icons for all these different subject matters, like a suitcase for travel, things like that. But then you get topics like sites of interest for ethnic minorities. My next door neighbor came up with the idea for that one. He says, "Why don't you draw a gal from Mardi Gras?" I said, "Oh, that's perfect. That's great." Let's see. Where's my tablet? This will be a nice break to take from. I'm doing illustration for the Tacoma Waste Management, solid waste management. It's a wrap for they accepted the comp, my first comp that I gave them with a couple of minor tweaks. And so now I'm doing the final vector, so they create the wraps for it. So I've been drawing things like broken refrigerators. I'm going to do a quick, I'm going to open up the screen for sharing. So I'm hoping to color this image in the next hour. This is from a I think it's a 53 horror film called The Deadly Mantis. It's of the era of the giant bug movies.
Yeah, I think is there more than one Mantis movie, or am I getting the names mixed up? Because I know I've seen the still for it, where the one where the officer has a picture of a mantis and he has a model next to it to show the scale.
I think that's the same one. There's been modern big mantis movies, but not a mantis of this size. Mm-hmm. Like there's a movie that came out in the 1980s called Blue Monkey. Why they called this thing a blue monkey, I have no idea. Some little kid gave it the name in the movie. So anyway, I'll stop sharing this. There's the off button.
Something to think about for my next selection.
Oh, and another thing, this is another one, a really obscure movie monster. This is called God Monster. I think this movie came out in the early 80s, and I think that's supposed to be some sort of sheep or bull, but I'll have to take a look at it again.
Looks vaguely familiar, though. The one I'm thinking of is, no, wait a minute, I know where I'm getting it mixed up with a creature that starred in a Bill Keane storybook. You know the one I'm thinking of? I think it's not Wuzzles, something with a W. Now I'm.
So talking about books,
Yes.
so if someone, I remember, was it her name Jeannie that was coming for a while and she did children's books? Do you remember who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay, yes, we do remember her. Okay. So I've had this idea, mostly I like to write adult fiction, but I've had an idea for a children's book, and I've always wanted to do like these little, just goofy little. Here, let me see. I'm gonna totally get off topic today, but not really. Like these goofy little books like this. This is a guy. His name is Brandon Lehman or Lyman. I hope I'm not butchering his name. And he does like these really funny little books. Like this one is called Zombies First Time. Like the zombies first time, killing somebody. But I just wondered, like, because we were wanting to always talk about advice and tips that artists can give, and I know that Bill has a comic strip, and then Mark, you've written several books with art in them. What would be some suggestions to get that started? Like my script. So I have my script for my book because a lot of children's books, they're written very rhythmic, almost like they're chants or chimes. Like I don't know if you ever heard of the one like Ricky Tikki Timbo. Like
oh yeah.
So yeah, so I have this, it's a little monster book that I came up with. And so like I was watching a couple YouTube videos and stuff, and like one of the things they said is that the best way to do it is like if you have your main character, is you need to draw them in several different ways, like with different facial expressions, different movements, and then it'll make it easier when you're drawing the actual picture. But what suggestions do you guys have?
Well, Bill, you've done several different character designs, haven't you?
Yeah.
So yes, definitely doing character designs is a great idea.
Definitely. I mean, just start doodling. Always come up with a handful of them because it's a case of where you need to kill your babies, sort of, and so just fill pages with a basic idea, and then when you find something you like or somebody you trust likes, do some reference sheets of multiple angles, expressions, and such. Palette swatches, that sort of thing.
So definitely plan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of did like, what is it? The story frames, with each, kind of line that's going to go in the book. But I don't want the book to be too long. So I was looking at like 12 pages. I mean, that's a short children's book, but I was just thinking it would be something quick and like it's directional words and there's a couple color words. So it's like like on, under, what was another word? Like the word see, go. Um, yeah. So I was, because I had read that before. I took a children's literature course when I was in undergrad because my psychology degree is a developmental psychology degree. And so it's like I was extracting 20 something year old information from my head. So, but I do have my own little, I have children that really like my art too, because it's very childlike. So I was like, well, I'd really like to test the waters on like a little children's monster horror book and see how it goes, because there is a whole culture of folks who do raise their children on horror from, I'm talking young. Um, I think I told you guys my youngest Chucky fan and Tiffany fan was like 5 years old. So I don't know. It's just toying with it, but I also know I don't want to put a bad product out there, and I feel like I'm learning every day. I'm still learning so much.
Well, doing a mock-up of how you're going to do your frames and how the story's going to flow with just stick figures, do a storyboard.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Oh, you've already done it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like little stick figures because I just wanted to see, like, I had the little back when I was able to walk a lot more, I would go walking in the woods, and I don't know if you remember last year, I did a couple of the paintings that I took to Texas that were actually like kind of fairy tale looking scenery, but then there were little monsters hiding in them.
Yes, I remember those.
Yeah, and so I sold all of those, and oddly to people who had children, not oddly actually, and so it's kind of based off of that idea. It's these little monsters that are everywhere, and so I kind of came up with a chant before this book. It was just like something that I would say to myself when I was walking in the woods and I would see different scenes, and I would take pictures and be like, oh, this would be a great thing to paint and hide some little monsters.
Oh, definitely. In fact, I trust you saved those shots because.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've got them. Yeah. I've got several. So it's like kind of inspired by the Pacific Northwest and the woods when we're, you're walking around and hiking. But then I was trying to conceptualize the child that would be in the book. And I'm like, is it a little girl? Do I want someone more androgynous? I want, and then I'm like, do I make it look more like very cartoon and childlike, or do I make it look I don't even know what the terms are for when you're drawing human characters, but it's like, what would be most relatable to children?
That's a follow your bliss kind of thing. I mean, there's a whole lot of arguments for going market testing yourself, but ultimately you want your own style, and that's marketing unto itself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm just trying to think about, I'll consider all of those things as I start to do this, because this one artist, she was like, you need at least 1 year to do a child's book, and I was like, really? Because I thought about that Jeannie lady, and I was like, man, it seems like was always working on a new book, but I don't know if it's because she was doing digital, what the art looked like, because I obviously would not be copying his style, but I had that idea that the way the art would look would be how I painted those pictures last year, which is kind of that Where the Wild Things Are vibe.
Okay.
I loved that color palette because it was kind of dark, but then it was bright. And I just always enjoyed the way the colors looked in that book. And even though, I mean, I don't know, sometimes I thought the Wild Things were actually kind of scary when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know if I recommended it a while ago, but there was a very good animation of it in the 70s where the studio, it was a pretty revolutionary at the time. One, they used this special mat that allowed them on the cells to allow them to duplicate a lot of Sendax textures. And
okay.
This kind of overlapped the cells, so it looked like they were moving in slow motion and making it more surreal.
All right. Okay. I'll definitely try to take a look at that. But yeah, and it's also interesting to me, like when I was looking on YouTube while I was painting this weekend, that there were so many people like already doing YouTube videos on how to use AI to make children's book. And I was like, well, this, they need to put a disclaimer on here. You can't currently copyright AI art that's not modified. So unless you plan on modifying it, I'm not even sure even if it's modified, if it's basis from AI, are they still saying it can't be copyright? You're usually the copyright king.
At this moment, and I think they'll be sticking to it, the Copyright Office has put the kibosh on any of that.
Okay.
I think they still have to address stuff like artists who are using AI for their personally trained tool.
Gotcha.
And let's see. If you have a chance to look at the comments, Kate, I just posted the link to the illustration forum that I'm on.
Okay.
Very good for a lot of suggestions. I am also posting the link to a Discord page that one of the members, Bev, runs, which is a much more casual shop talk place. And
Okay.
And also for AI, something everybody can look forward to coming on the 10th. Give me a second here.
Someone just asked to be let in, and I'm trying to find out.
Coming on the 10th, there shall be a AI conference.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I just have the links for all that right up.
And what's the conference for? Is it to just discuss it or to use it, or
talk about the state of it at the moment? You can see the link will answer most of your questions.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's good to know.
Going back to designing your character for your book.
Yeah.
So something I've done for for instance, my latest comic is I have a page of just the kind of, let's see if we can see this here. Here's the character. I got some facial expressions and stuff.
Oh,
a little
wow.
color test.
Yeah.
And then this just in the sketchbook here. Okay, yeah, we can see this. Here's the character again, and then here's a breakdown of like the pants, how the jacket works, shoes, her harness, her little goggles.
Okay.
That way I just have something to go back to look at as I'm drawing it.
Yeah, and I can back that up. I mean, for example, here's the one I have for a space opera I've been dabbling with for 8 years.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, guys, for sharing that.
Yeah, that's something that it really helps to go back. And it's like, oh, where's the buckle go on this or something like that? Just keeps it consistent. And
it's amazing how many times I catch myself on continuity errors like that. And sometimes when I'm rushed, I will miss a continuity error from one that's next to, which is have a mistake that's right next to the panel where it's correct, which is really embarrassing.
Oh, so Tom, what's the name of your comic?
I'm still working on. I got 2 of them I'm working on currently, and that's a steampunk mermaid pirate ship comic. So I'm planning on doing mermaid is just do all the mermaid pages all at once. So.
Oh, that sounds cool. I've been sort of been wondering about my own angle for mermaid.
Yeah.
I'm sure every Mark and Kate has seen that. I've been
Yep.
as I've been as I've been doing mermaid over the years, I gradually started developing my own cast, and I want to do more with them.
Hold it closer to the camera, Bill. You've been doing those in watercolors just to keep your watercolors chops up?
Pretty much, yeah. It's sort of like I go to my parents in Maine every summer in June, and the absolutely gorgeous place, rocky coast, pine, spruce trees, the works, and so I generally take my watercolors there, and since I don't, well, I've been making an effort to practice more this year, but generally I can frequently slack off of water with it and get very mediocre. And you do not want to waste the first 3 days of your vacation on doing mediocre paintings.
Oh yeah, I recognize the one on the left from your last trip.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That one's actually Green Lake, but
oh, was it?
No, the one you recognized was, but the one I turned to was suddenly realized, wait, that's not. Wait a minute, that's not Maine. That's a half mile away from my house.
So Teresa said, can she join? And I was a little late in getting the link to her, but hopefully she'll be joining us in a little bit. I haven't seen Teresa in a while. I want to ask her if she was at Emerald City, which I didn't attend.
Yeah, but as I said, I've been trying to practice more. And speaking of character designs,
Yeah, that's
who's
great.
that character?
they're not any specific. They're essentially faces in the street for that space opera.
Ah.
I have this. One of the things I've been having with this series is there's multiple ethnicities in this one setting, and so that one is members of a community that calls themselves the Bright, mainly because the world that they're refugees from is called Bright Sky, and the reason it's called Bright Sky is somebody set off several nukes in the upper atmosphere.
Oh boy.
And I've been having a lot of fun coming up with just little minor details about their culture, the culture.
Therese, can you hear us?
Hello. I can hear you.
We can't see you quite yet.
I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
I think. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I just messed it up. Hey, there's everybody. okay. Oh, hi there.
Oh,
Hi.
How are you guys?
Oh, we've been having a great discussion talking about the character designs.
Uh-huh.
And Katie was contemplating doing a little, almost a zine-like children's book.
That'd be fun.
oh, and Mark, I found the critters that your other monster reminded me of.
Oh,
Though I got Bill Pete mixed up with Bill Keane.
so Bill Pete was an animator for Disney. Who ended up doing a lot of Disney shorts. And eventually he stopped working for Disney, but one of the things he was doing on the side was doing children's books. And when I was growing up, I had a slew of his books, just a huge number of them, because my mother had, as a birthday gift, subscribed me to a children's book club. I was a very voracious reader at a very young age. So I had all these wonderful children's books. And so when I came across a Bill Pete exhibit years later with a friend of mine, I picked up some of his books there. But
Oh, that must have been awesome. I had an experience like that with Shepherd a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I was visiting my folks in Rhode Island, and we were up in Boston going to the British Museum. We always go to the Boston Museum of Fine Arts when we're there, and there was a Winnie the Pooh exhibit, and it had all of his original pencil sketches.
I was in Chicago visiting John Schmelzer, who used to be the president of the Graphic Artists Guild. And John and I decided to just go over on a whim to the Chicago Art Institute, because what a better way can a couple artists spend their day than at the Art Institute.
That's the one the Surratt's in, isn't it?
I don't know. And at the time, and it just so happened that at the bottom level in a small gallery section, there was a Bill Pete exhibit. And I was just, and John had never heard of him and ended up walking home with, taking home half a dozen books. And since I was flying, only grabbed his autobiography. I figured I could always hunt down more copies. But he's the one who designed the mice in Cinderella.
Mm.
That was kind of his look.
And pretty much everything in Jungle Book, I remember the elephants the best. At least I remember his preliminary sketches of them.
And as so often the case, he and Walt had a little bit of a falling out.
Yeah.
Probably because he didn't realize at the time that Walt Disney was suffering from cancer. He kept it very private.
I didn't know that.
And he didn't want to, affect how people saw him in the workplace. So he just I would say grin and bear it, but he wasn't doing much grinning. He was just taking. He was a little bit more cranky and tired looking than normal. People were wondering what the stress was he was under.
Yeah. I mean, Walt could be temperamental at the best of times. I have a really good biography. It's not quite a biography, but it's the guy. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's by the guy who directed all of the goofy how-to shorts, and he does this kind of cartoon storyboard style history of the entire studio, and he has a lot of fun things to say about Walt. Do I have it?
So Therese, what are you working on today?
Well, I have, I've written a couple of children's books, and I'm starting to kind of illustrate them a little bit. And I haven't gotten that far yet.
Good question. Oh, that's good timing. Kate was sort of looking for suggestions for starting her first one.
I know, it's like, this is serendipitous. So many people have.
I just opened my sketchbook and I have an old sketch here. If you want to see it, you're welcome to.
Oh, I'd love to.
Sure,
Please.
show us, please.
Oh, nice.
That was a quick drawing of a parrot.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if it's showing.
Yeah. I saw it. It
Yeah.
showed up pretty well.
My book is it kind of goes about, my friend Max has a cat. My friend Max has a cat that sits upon his noodle. And when he's there, oh, I miss it. I messed the whole thing up. Anyway, it's a guy with a cat sitting on his noodle. So I was going to be drawing that. And there's also other friends in that book. It's a whole list of different friends. And it's going to be different animals and everything. Just a little whimsy.
Now, did you find out about this because of my Facebook posting, or did you find out by Eventbrite?
I found out about it by your Facebook posting.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to have to do that more often.
And I didn't know this was happening. And if I'd known, I would have been better prepared. Right now, I'm not very well prepared.
I didn't know what I was drawing today, so it's okay. I came up. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I think I'll do a couple tarot cards. What the heck?
There you go. I'll be right back. I need to go find something.
I'm really looking forward to Thursday. My brother, who currently lives in Hawaii, has been on vacation to Japan the last week or so, skiing. And I lived in Japan for a year. He lived in Japan for about a year, but in college. So he wasn't as fully immersed into speaking Japanese as I was. But he was over there for, I'm trying to remember if it was a year or a quarter. I think it was just, might have been a couple semesters. When he was done, this is the type of people that are in my family. When he was done with his schooling in Japan, he caught a flight over to China, and then he hitchhiked across China to the Orient Express, and then took the Orient Express to Greece. And I should have met up. He said, hey, you want to meet up with me in Greece? I said, I should have taken him up on that. Instead, my brother Cliff goes over and starts hanging out with him. I think part of the reason I didn't go was I'm not a big drinker, And then I know my brother Stan was really having the time of his life.
Mm.
And that was the first time that he did something like that. The second time, he had run for public office and he lost. This was shortly after the dot-com bust. So he had sold all of his dot-com stock before the bust to fund his campaign. And he owned a house. And the girlfriend who had been dating, they broke up because she decided to move to England to further her education. And they decided that the long distance relationships just wasn't for them. And he was sitting in his house saying, well, I don't have a job. All I have is this house. I really don't need this house. So he decided to sell his house. And while he still could do it and was unattached, he was just going to take his backpack and hike and do a world tour and travel until the money ran out. And he decided to head down south. He spent 3 months in Mexico first, taking an immersion course in Spanish, so that he could manage to do the rest of the hitchhiking. And then when he the thing was, like, 2 weeks before he leaves and goes on this great tour, 9/11 happens.
Oh my gosh.
And so nobody is traveling. Everybody's canceled their travel plans, well, except for him. So everywhere he went, he was like the only tourist and the only guy on the plane. And he said everywhere he went, he was treated like a king. And of course, you know, America hadn't done anything really stupid at that point. Everyone had a great sympathy for Americans because of the whole terrorist attack. So he was traveling around, highest sympathy, best time. Nobody else. Hotels were treating him like he was a god. He had the best time and the best luck because he was going to countries where, like, he was like 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the next terrorist attack or the next civil war.
Oh, wow.
So he got to see all these places that then rapidly became inaccessible right afterwards.
Oh, wow.
One time it was, he had just toured someplace over by these large falls in Africa. And then right behind him, the next day, it was attacked by some rebels.
Oh my gosh.
And his last trip, when he was down to those last $4,000, or was it 2,000? He went to Hawaii, and then he came home and started working for my brother. But anyway, he's coming to town on this Thursday, and there's a place here called the LeMay's Car Museum. He said, hey, should we do that or should we do the glass museum? And I said, oh, let's do the car museum. It'll be more fun.
Mm.
And then I'm going to take him to El Gaucho after that for dinner.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Well, when I turned 50, he took me out to dinner at Ruth Chris saying, hey, when I turn 50, I want you to take me out to dinner for a nice big steak. I said, listen. So he's only a year younger than me. But I didn't do that. And I turned 60 last year. And I figure, if I don't buy him a steak dinner by the time he turns 60, I'm never going to end the world, hear the end of it. So That's why I'm taking him out to a nice steak dinner. Of course, I'm taking my wife too. It was kind of sort of initially supposed to be sort of like just a brothers thing, but since then we've gotten to the habit of doing a yearly fishing trip with me and my dad and all my other brothers.
Oh, sorry, this is a weird non sequitur, but speaking of 9/11, it was sort of reminding me of how to show off what I did this on Sunday. I saw 1,000 Splendid Suns at Seattle Opera.
Oh.
So what is 1,000 Splendid Suns about, Bill?
It's about two women during the Russian occupation, the lives of two women starting during Russian occupation and going on till the occupation of the Taliban. And it's based on a book, same guy who did the Kite Runner. And
I've never read the Kite Runner, so
yeah, and depressing as heck, but it's sort of like the first 3/4 of it. It sort of seems to be a meandering of how much more hell can we put these people through, and then everything comes together and it turns into epic. And the stagecraft is really nice. They had these rotating sets that really worked incredibly well. And of course, as far as the music, as always, the singers and orchestra are on the top of their game.
Now, Bill, did we mention it last time we met? Have you seen the musical Assassins, or just heard about it?
I haven't seen it, but I virtually have the soundtrack memorized.
I've only just heard about it.
Yeah, it's been around since the 80s, one of Sondheim's.
I heard it was quite funny.
Oh, it has it very funny, total gallows humor all the way through. Because essentially one of the recurring themes of the whole show is all of these assassins are complete utter losers, where they're taking a hit on the president is essentially a desperate attempt to be relevant.
So not all of them are president assassinations. Like, I think John Hinckley's in there, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Oh yeah, the failed assassins are in there too. So along with all the ones you know, we have Hinckley, Squeaky Fromm, who's the other, Sam Bick, and I'm forgetting the name of the fourth one.
Was Squeaky the one that went after Gerald Ford?
Yes. One of the ones who went after Gerald Ford. The other one is I'm embarrassed I'm forgetting.
I'm I'm trying to remember the name of who went after Ronald Reagan.
That was Hinckley. Oh, Sarah Jane Moore was the one I was forgetting.
Wait a minute, then who went after John Lennon?
Oh, they're just the assassins of presidents here.
Okay. Sorry, folks, I didn't mean to bring up this whole, history lesson. For those of you who happen to live in Tacoma, there is a live drawing session that will be happening on the fourth Wednesday of the month at the Grand Cinemas. We have a cosplayer coming in. It's free to the public. You just come and bring your sketchbook. We encourage you to tip the cosplayer. We've done this now. This will be our third month. And I'm going to have to get some more. I have a cosplayer lined up for April as well.
Nice.
And either I have to find some more cosplayers or start asking our existing cosplayers. The last gal dressed up as Supergirl. And the gal before her was the Mad Hatter. And I think this girl's dressing up from a video game.
That narrows it down, especially with the Japanese ones.
Something Shogun. What's a popular? I don't play video games. So I don't know.
Nothing I've heard of.
So Katie, you said that Tim has got a deadline with his publisher, or is it with his editor?
Well, since his publisher is himself, yeah, he's got a deadline. No, I don't, I didn't know if you knew he's self-published, but yeah, so he has a deadline for next Friday. He has to upload the book by Monday. So we'll see how it goes. This series has sold, I think, about 200,000 copies. So this is book 6 or 7 in the series. It's the Z-Resin series, his zombie series.
And this is through Amazon or someone else?
Yeah, no, he does it through Amazon. He's done really well for himself with it.
I've got a few acquaintances who do that, and I've been kind of looking into that a little bit at the very least, doing my comic strip collections.
Yeah, well, and you can print children's books too. That was one of the things I didn't know about, was that you could do children's books. There's actually a whole publishing section, and I guess you can download the app so you can load your art and everything. So it'll
Is
help
it
you format the
Amazon?
book.
Is this on Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they do have a,
Is that the Jet City section?
No, I'm blanking on their name. It's a shame. I actually had one of their vice presidents doing a talk on Cartoonist Northwest, but it was the first time it was the first or second Zoom meeting I did, and I completely screwed up recording it.
Oh, I did some sketch notes on that. So if you can remember when it was, I can tell people where when you said, was that in 2019 or was that?
Yeah, it was right. I'm pretty sure it was right on the start of COVID, because as I said, it was
It was how to publish books through Amazon, wasn't it?
yeah.
And he had a specific name. It was called Using Such and So to Publish with Amazon.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm just blanking on the name.
And it just occurred to me I can search on my email.
Well, I got to go get dinner going, so I'll leave you guys for now. But thanks for the invite, and I hope to be joining in more soon.
It's 5:30. Everybody, it's Epic Sketch Time is ending. So
Wow.
that went by really fast. I want to thank everybody. We'll be here again next week at 4:30. If you happen to be in Tacoma, there's also another group that meets in person called Freelance Fandango at the Red Elm from 11 to 1 o'clock. And there's also an online version of Freelance Fandango that meets on Sundays from 10 to noon. And Bill, do you have any epics? Do you have any drink and draws that you want to mention this week? Or is it next week?
Not this week. I think the next one is on the 23rd.
Anyway, we'll keep you posted on our Epic Sketch Time Facebook page. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
thanks for including me.
Oh, you're welcome.